How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video. And in this video we will, like the title suggests, be discussing whether or not Jedi Fallen Order could get a sequel, and also if it should even get one. Now guys, this video will contain spoilers. If you haven't finished the game yet, then don't watch this video. I do have a Star Wars game ranking video that you could watch instead. You'll see a card in the top right corner of the video. So that is the official spoiler warning. Again, you have officially been warned. Alright, so in this video, we'll be talking about what the ending means for Fallen Order as a game, whether it should get a sequel, as well as for what it means for Cal, Merrin, Cere, and Grease, as there is still a fair bit of time in which some pretty cool stuff can happen in the timeline between Fallen Order's ending and A New Hope. So before we dive into all of that, be sure to let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of Fallen Order's ending, and let me know if you think that we should get a sequel or not. And if you are new to the channel, then be sure to subscribe for more Star Wars gaming content. We should be getting some news for December content in Battlefront 2 very soon, so make sure you stay tuned. So let's talk about the ending of Jedi Fallen Order for a second. I have been waiting for ages to actually be able to talk about this, so let's get into it. All of the main crew of the Mantis barely escape with their lives, especially Cal, BD-1, and Cere, who only just escaped from Darth Vader. Escape was literally the only chance of survival for these two, and yeah, they only just got away after what was honestly one of the best segments I've seen in Star Wars for a while. Like, not just in Star Wars games, but in Star Wars in general. All of the Darth Vader moments at the end of this game, they were just, it was like Vader porn. It was great. It was pure Vader fanboy fulfillment, and I loved every second of it. Vader actually felt seriously unstoppable, which was what they were definitely going for, and they succeeded in a huge way. Vader was actually terrifying, and I really felt like Cal was actually going to die. Like, it's one of those rare moments in video games where you actually feel like the person you're playing will actually die. And I actually thought that they were going to kill BD-1 as well. Like, when Vader grabbed BD-1, I actually screamed out no, like actually out loud in my house, because I couldn't control it. I just didn't want to see BD-1 die. I would have hated Vader forever if he killed, you know, little cute BD-1. But actually, having said that, that does lead me on to one thing that I do want to discuss in this video before we get into sequel talk. Do I think that Cal Kestis should have died in this game? Honestly, yeah, I do. I do think he probably should have died, and I seriously thought that he was going to. Cal has to die at some point in the however many years between episode 3 and 4, or the end of Fallen Order in episode 4, unless he gets a fairy tale ending. And by fairy tale ending, I mean he cuts himself off from the Force and hides somewhere in the galaxy for the rest of his life. It's not much of a fairy tale, I know, but given the way the game ended, full of optimism and adventure, I don't think that that's going to happen anyway. Now that actually does segue me onto the main topic of this video. Do I think that Jedi Fallen Order will get a sequel? I honestly think it's something that EA would either be discussing right now with Respawn, or they have already greenlit a new Fallen Order game, but just haven't taken it public yet. I just don't think with the way this game ended that they could possibly just leave Cal's arc there. Like, I just don't think that that's possible, especially when the game is done so well with fans and critics and people want to see more. I do think that if Cal did die, that would have been a tragic but fitting ending to his story. This story does, after all, take place in the dark times, so you can't really expect to keep seeing, you know, happy endings. So if they do a sequel, I definitely think that Cal will 100% die, and so will Cere. Grease and Merrin could walk away from it if they were in the game, which I imagine they would be. Merrin still has a lot to do, because she joins the Mantis and she doesn't really do much except pull Cal and Cere out of the water once the fight is already over. And she's a really cool character, and there's definitely something to explore between Cal and Merrin. Maybe in the sequel they grow closer and Vader continues hunting down Cal, and he uses Merrin as a tool to turn Cal to the dark side. We did see, after all, a ton of visions during the game of Cal seeing himself as an Inquisitor, and whilst it was just a vision, it's definitely a storyline that could be explored in a sequel. We could see, you know, something similar as well with Cere. Maybe Cere could turn to the dark side and you have to face off against Cere. I don't know, like, that was hinted at throughout pretty much the entirety of Fallen Order, the fact that Cere does dabble into the dark side. But yeah, as for Cal, we could maybe see him take a similar path to Triller. where he goes from a Jedi to turning to the dark side through torture and suffering. Maybe Vader uses Merrin, Seer, and Grease as leverage, and then in a moment of redemption, Cal has a change of heart and turns on Vader, and then Vader finally kills Cal for good. It would pretty much run exactly parallel with the way Triller's arc unfolded, so I think we could see a similar thing for Cal. And who knows, maybe Palpatine could be there as well. Like, this is just my brain running wild here, but the game certainly has to end dark if they do go the sequel route, which I really hope that they do. I would happily play a sequel for this game with the same controls, graphics, engine, just with the conclusion to Cal's arc, and maybe some new planets to explore like Khorasan, Mustafar, Tatooine, I don't know. I did like the fact that we got to visit some new exciting planets we haven't seen before in Fallen Order, like Bogano and, you know, stuff like that, but I think in a sequel, seeing some planets we all know and love and have been waiting to see in a AAA game for ages would be a really great thing to see. I am mainly looking at Khorasan here. I actually thought we were really going to see Khorasan in this game. It was like one of my biggest hopes, but it didn't happen, but honestly that was probably the only thing that really let me down. So I didn't really care. But anyway, moving on, they could also add in some extra missions through DLC, kind of like what they did with the Battlefront 2 campaign with the little time jump with the same characters, where we got to see closure on their arcs. Like Iden, Del, and Hask, every single one of them pretty much ended up actually killing each other, but we got closure on their character arcs, which was good. I think the possibility of seeing something similar with this game would actually be a really good thing to see. I'd personally prefer the sequel, but the DLC would be way better than getting nothing at all. But yeah, I guess it's just a waiting game to see whether or not anything will be announced in regards to a sequel. But I mean, everything is pretty well set up right there for the taking. Like, there is no doubt heaps of cool characters to explore across the galaxy in a sequel. Like Taron Malicos, he was one of my favourite parts about Fallen Order. He was pretty badass and the fight against him was a lot of fun. And seeing him dual wield red lightsabers was just insane. So there's the opportunity to encounter cool characters like that in a sequel, and keep in mind, we didn't see the Ninth Sister actually die after we defeated her. So she could potentially come back, even though I kind of hope that she doesn't. I didn't really like her. Her voice it pissed me off for some reason, I don't know why. But for me, Triller was just a way better Inquisitor, and her arc was pretty sad, but she had a little moment of redemption right at the end, which probably makes things even sadder. The moments with Triller were honestly some of my favourite parts in the game, and I was really hoping that she maybe was going to turn back to the light, because we got sympathetic with her about halfway through the game when she revealed who she really was. But anyway, I got a little bit off topic there. Triller was like my favourite character in the game, and she went out in a pretty cool way. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. Now, what I'm about to talk about doesn't really have that much to do with the topic of this video, but I do want to touch on it regardless. But how good was the Order 66 sequence of Jedi Fallen Order? Like, Anakin's dark deeds was playing over the top of the entire sequence, and it was so sad, yet it was so cool to see the point of view of Order 66 from this perspective, from a Padawan's perspective, which, you know, hasn't really been explored since Revenge of the Sith. Like, we haven't seen too much of Order 66 post Revenge of the Sith. Like, just having Cal as a Padawan talking to the clones and, you know, seeing just how much they get along, it was so sad. And it was moments before the order was given, and like I said, you can see that the clones were really nice and they were friends with some of the Jedi. This was honestly one of the biggest surprises that was in this game, and it makes me adore Jedi Fallen Order like beyond belief. Not many games hit an emotional string with me, but throughout the entire Order 66 sequence, I was honestly holding them tears back, man, I'm not gonna lie. That was just some good shit, and it was at that point where I actually crowned this game my favourite Star Wars game of all time. Like, I didn't even need to see the ending of the game at that point, I was already convinced. But anyway, I know that had not really much to do with the video topic, but I just wanted to talk about it. I haven't been able to talk about spoilers yet on my channel, so this is my first opportunity, so unlucky if you didn't want to hear that. But anyway guys, those are pretty much my thoughts on whether or not Jedi Fallen Order should get a sequel or not. And also, just some general spoiler chat in there as well. Like I said, I definitely do think that Fallen Order should get a sequel. The way the game ends, it just leaves sequel options right open, and you just know that Vader is not going to be happy with, you know, Cal and Seer for escaping his grasp, so he will be coming for them. Imagine playing an entire Jedi Fallen Order sequel knowing that Vader is on your tail. Honestly, With that in mind, the sequel could be better than Fallen Order, even though Fallen Order is just an absolute gem. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments below, guys. Make sure you do drop a like on the video if you did enjoy, as it does help the channel out a great deal, and consider subscribing to the channel if you are new for more Star Wars gaming content. But that is pretty much going to do it for this video, so thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all again real soon.